Am I hallucinating, or is that ice coming straight towards us?
Yeah, it's coming. It sounds like there's animals on it.
Ooh, must be a party cruise.
Ahoy down there!
The fourth Ice Age movie is drifting into theaters this weekend.
It's called Ice Age Continental Drift. Our movie guy Aaron Lafferty has a preview of this weekend's big release. Is this it? I mean, is this going to be the biggie for the weekend?
This is Spider-Man's not going to hang on any longer. This is going to top Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean,
Really? Okay.
this is actually a great one for the little ones.
Right, this is the fourth installment of the Ice Age movies. Of course, this is, in the prehistoric times we're set here, so a lot of these animals don't exist anymore. So this is kind of telling the story, if you're familiar with the history of all the prehistoric times, eventually the continents started to split up in scientific theory. So this is when the continents start to break up. So you've got Diego and Manny and Sid are now set adrift on a chunk of ice, and they go on these new adventures. So
These
they're kind
effects
of
are cool,
out to
Aaron.
sea. Yeah, I mean, they've always looked good, and they've had good characters, and they're fun. So it's definitely worth checking out. It's the only movie in wide release this week.
Okay.
They do that because they're avoiding the big movie next weekend, which is Dark Knight, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Interesting. Okay, and I think it's ironic because most of the country is gripped with the heat wave that we're talking about, Ice Age,
right.
in the air-conditioned movie
So you
theaters.
can cool off with the AC and cool off with the
That's
the theme of the
absolutely
movie.
right.
Okay, so there's another one that you want to tell us about, too. Might be
Yes.
an option for some people who don't want to go to the kid flick.
Right. In limited release, this is definitely not a kid flick. It's rated R. It's called Safety Not Guaranteed. At least the premise got me interested. Basically, this guy puts an ad in the paper, and he says, looking for a companion to time travel with, safety not guaranteed. So that's where our title comes in. Aubrey Plaza, you might remember from Parks and Rec.
Yeah, I like her.
She is one of the people working at the magazine that are out to investigate this guy that put the ad in the paper. He's very secretive. If nothing else, the premise is interesting. It's only playing at Rivertown this week.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So this is one that will get bigger release, or maybe not?
No, this is going to be one of those that just stays small, and maybe it'll pick up some attention and it'll go to other theaters, but most likely it'll stay limited.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
Now, speaking of attention,
Yes.
you were saying a little bit ago.
Yes.
There's a biggie coming up.
There is. So I maybe I'm cheating, I don't know, but for my picks this week is to talk about next Thursday. You've got the whole marathon of the Batman movies, starting with Batman Begins, including Dark Knight, which is one of the best movies this decade, this last 10 years. Heath Ledger won Oscar for Best Supporting Actor as the Joker, one of the best villains ever on screen. You can catch these movies at most theaters. They're doing the Batman Begins, Dark Knight, leading up to the Dark Knight Rises, which is the third movie in this trilogy by Christopher Nolan. So you can watch all three movies if you want in the theater, or you can just watch the new one.
Yeah, and how is this going to be different? Obviously, we've got a lead actor, Heath Ledger's not coming back due to his unexpected death.
Right, we have some new villains, plus we have a new Catwoman. Anne Hathaway is the new Catwoman. So this
Big buzz on that.
Christopher Nolan is I think one of the most under-nominated directors working in film today, and he's the most deserving. So if you liked any of these movies, if you liked his other movies, if for no other reason, he's a very good director. He creates his own world in every movie he does. He creates a world, and you're just living in it and watching it. So it's definitely an escape movie.
Interesting, too, because you have kind of Spider-Man now on the way down, and now the Dark Knight.
They planned that.
I'm sure. Yes, exactly.
Just like they put Ice Age this weekend and not next weekend. So you're not
It's all
competing.
strategic.
It's very
isn't
strategic.
It?
It's very strategic. So then a movie, if you want to watch at home this weekend, you can pick up Idiocracy, which, if you're familiar with Office Space, the director of Office Space, Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill, did this movie. Basically, Luke Wilson is an Army private who goes in this experimental thing, and he's hibernated. He wakes up 500 years in the future, and the whole world is kind of dumbed down, and he soon realizes he's the smartest person there. It's a very funny movie. The concept is great. It doesn't necessarily deliver as well on the concept, but I really like the movie. There's a lot of funny jokes in there. Plus you get Terry Crews, WMU grad Terry Crews, plays President Camacho, who's a former wrestler.
I actually saw this movie. I'm so excited. There's a movie in this segment I've actually seen. High five.
Did someone urge you to go and see this, or did they?
It was originally released back in 2006.
2006, yeah.
I don't know. It's probably my husband and I probably was looking to escape from the house for a night. We had our first teenagers in high
guilty
school.
pleasure,
yeah,
maybe?
something like that. I don't know. I do remember that it was hilarious.
It's funny. It's
I
not-
love Luke Wilson
It's
too.
not highbrow comedy, but it's fun.
That's right.
It's fun.
Okay, for this next thing, I'm really excited, and I feel a little out of sorts here because
Okay.
I'm sandwiched between two cat people here. You're gonna go crazy.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Cat lovers are gonna love this, right?
If anybody knows Jackson Galaxy, he's a cat behaviorist. He has a show on another cable network.
Yeah.
And I got a chance to talk to him, ask him some questions that I think a lot of people have. A lot of people talk about feeding and litter box issues, and I asked him about that.
If you had to sum up my practice, I would say 75% is litter box and the rest being aggression and related problems. So, you know, for me, it is detective work. It's going in the home, seeing literally at what point in the house, you know, putting X's on the floor and you know, tracking time of day and what might be going on outside.
Is it good for them to graze, or is it feeding them, you know, once in the morning, once at night?
Yeah, that's a great question, Aaron. I mean, that's really what I come up against is, you know, are cats grazers or not? And no, they're not. They're opportunistic hunters. That's what they are. So, you know, what we're trying to emulate, what I try to emulate, is what I call the raw cat. I want them to be as close as they would be in nature, and that's how I help them to settle into a real routine, because it's the routine their ancestors knew.
Okay, is this for real?
Yeah, no, this is so you've got the horse whisperer, you got the dog whisperer. He's a cat behaviorist. He's a rock and roll guitar guy at night, so that's why he's got the crazy
The
get up.
show is called My Cat from Hell.
It is, and it deals
man.
with it deals with cat behavior. Sometimes it's the people, sometimes it's the cats.
Yeah,
so,
move over to Dance Moms. I got a brand new favorite show.
Yes, and you learn a lot, you know. There's some things that you might not
man.
realize, and that, you know, cats are very different from dogs. I grew up around dogs, and having cats now is very different than dogs.
Yeah, they
Interesting.
definitely do their own thing.
Yes,
for
they're-
sure. It's like
they're independent.
you know, a toddler.
Yes.
Okay, and so where we find all your great information?
On my blog, on whattv.com, on Facebook, on Twitter, and also on my YouTube page. I've got the Channing Tatum interview you can go watch now on my YouTube page. I'll put the rest of my
Nice.
interview with Jackson Galaxy up.
Yeah.
Okay.
More importantly, right? Exactly.
Right. I mean, you can watch Channing Tatum too.
Great. Thanks, Aaron.
All right.
Always a
Yeah.
pleasure.
Thanks.
We'll be right back.
See ya.
Are you West?